Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is looking at the inaccuracies of the SNP claims about what Scots want in terms of immigration. Okay. Now, before I start, if you want to support the channel, you can become a member, you can subscribe, that's free, or you can just simply click the thumbs up button at the bottom of the screen. It takes you a second and is a great thing for the channel. So, on with the story. Now, the Daily Express and the Times have both ran with a similar story on this, with the headline, Scots want less migrants in Scotland in shattering blow to SNP's Skexit claims. The nationalist-led Scottish Government has released independent papers claiming that the country is more welcoming to immigration than the rest of the UK, but a new report has suggested this is partially false. That's a nice way of saying they tell lies. Scots want less migrants coming north of the border, according to new research. Blowing a massive hole in the SNP's independence claims, the Nationalist Party have based a number of their Skexit prospectuses on statements which indicate Scotland is more welcoming to immigration than those south of the border. SNP MP Kirsty Blackman even claimed that immigration to Scotland would be unlimited in the event of the breakup of the UK. She said the whole idea of the whole Rwanda scheme, all of this is built on a premise that immigration is bad, right? The whole idea, the whole trying to win votes on. Doesn't really make grammatic sense, but kind of get what you're saying. This only works if you start from the premise that immigration is a bad thing, and that we shouldn't have it, and that we need to reduce it, and that we need to stop people coming here. And Westminster leader Stephen Flynn has repeatedly insisted that targeting small boats and the Rwanda policy was not Scotland's values. These people love to tell everybody else what Scotland's thinking, don't they? But according to research from Migration Policy Scotland, support for immigration north of the border has cooled over the last year, with those wanting less immigration rising from 28% to 42%. Now almost half Scots want to reduce the flow of migrants, with this indicating that the Tories are right to be targeting illegal immigration. Immigration into Scotland has been rising since the turn of the century, with about 1 in 10 people living here being born outside the United Kingdom. The SNP want to increase those numbers after Skexit in a bid to boost the economy and help with ageing population. There's easier ways of getting the deal with ageing population and immigration, and it's probably something that might help would be stop mutilating children and giving them drugs that'll mean they can't produce babies. That might be a start. However, the survey found that 25% of respondents wanted immigration reduced substantially, another 17% by a little. This compared to 10% wanting immigration increased a lot, and 21% wanting it pushed up by a little. So that means only 31% of Scots want more immigration, whether that's a little or a lot. All right? Well, the largest single group was the 26% that wanted levels to remain the same. So 31% want it increased, therefore 69% want it either remain the same or lessen. These crackpots are down in Westminster telling us that Scotland wants more immigrants. A lot of nonsense. However, back to the story. Sarah Kayambe, Director of Migration Policy Scotland, wrote in the Times that views over immigration had cooled in the last year. She said John Swinney, Scotland's First Minister, has called for more immigration to stimulate economic growth. What is stimulate economic growth? Get people that don't want to work, so that we can all, those who are working, can, and those who won't work but can work, can help bring more money into the public purse, and in turn really look after those who can't work. You know, those people who would like to work but are medically incapable through no fault of their own, they deserve help. See, the people that decide, I don't want to work, they don't deserve help. They deserve to be helping the people that can't, who would love to be in a position to work, right? Anyway, research from Migration Policy Scotland indicates that Swinney's view is better aligned with what Scottish people want. Historically high net migration figures could be interpreted as signalling time for greater restrictiveness, and this representative survey does not find that Scots' views have and this representative survey does find that Scots' views have cooled over the last 12 months. Yet, the research also shows a clear, if cautious, pragmatism. That's a bit contradictory, because it says here that it indicates Swinney's view is better aligned with what the Scottish public want, but then says that it's not. I don't understand what you're saying there. However, the think tank did discover significant differences in attitudes between supporters of different parties. This is interesting. With those who voted for Tories in 2019 overwhelmingly support a reduction in migration levels, that's 68%, compared to 43% for Labour, 31% for Lib Dems and 28% for SNP. Now that is interesting, because that's more than a quarter and just under a third of those who voted SNP in 2019 want less immigration, want less immigrants. It's a big chunk. So SNP will need to be a bit careful, because they're already losing voters by the droves with their gender recognition and their green-friendly stuff. That if they keep pushing the immigration thing, they might lose even more because of that. So interesting times for the SNP. And Scottish nationalists are more likely to back increased immigration at 48%. So it'll make them happy, less than half his party. Scots remain more pro-immigration than the UK average, however the gap is narrowing. The report added, for the UK as a whole, the majority, 52%, favour a reduction in immigration. While this is now almost the most common response in Scotland at 42%, it remains slightly shy of a majority response. The gap in views between Scottish and UK-wide surveys has shrunk across the board, with the greatest alignment of views occurring in relation to the proportion of responses favouring a reduction. A 20% point gap in 2023 is now shrunk to a difference of only 10%. So, what is it they call it? The notion of travel? Direction of travel with this is definitely going from, yeah, let's give more immigrants, to, no, we've got enough, all right? But don't let the SNP know, because they like to talk nonsense on it. So I think that's quite interesting, actually. And I think I've mentioned before that if Scotland really does need more people because of a skills shortage and, to put more of a workforce together, then why don't we go to the schools, and instead of talking to them about butchering their bodies, why don't we teach the kids, secondary school, so that's what, 12-year-olds, 11, 12-year-olds upwards, teach them the skills that we're short of. That's novel, eh? And encourage them to not get caught in the 21% trap. These are the people, the adults, and particularly young adults, that have never worked. Let's sort of educate kids that ain't really a good thing. That to, have some pride in yourself, have some goals, have some life challenges, and get up and go and get a job is quite a good thing. And heavens help my Bob, right? Imagine working out what skill shortages we've got and have a national curriculum based at filling these shortages, right? To just go bring more folk in is a bit of a cop-out, particularly when you don't need me to tell you this. There's a housing shortage in Scotland. So bringing more folk in, where are you going to put them when we've got a housing shortage? We'd be far better with the people we've got being more productive, right? It just, to me, it just is so much common sense and logic that what you would do if this was a business, as I've said before, and we ran the country like a business, and we said, right, we've got people in here, we've already got a population that some of them just don't want to work. We've got a housing shortage, and we've got immigration. How do we put the whole thing together and make it fit? It's no rocket science, right? Train these people that we've already got. Then you don't need to worry so much about your housing shortage. You'll probably still be short anyway, but it's a damn sight better having a housing shortage with the population we've got now before you bring in another 10%. Does that not make sense? Maybe it's just me. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please subscribe and hit the notifications button. But most importantly of all, unless you're these crackpot SNP MPs down at Westminster talking total bollocks about immigration, everybody else, have a great day. Cheery bye now.